I've been great. And also, yeah, like when yeah, stuff is happening and it's all very exciting. A lot of stuff is opening up, so things are coming up that maybe haven't been seen before, and there's a realization, it would seem, that there's some stuff trapped. So I'm kind of in a very vulnerable place of trying to allow whatever's trapped to have a little spokesmanship or something, I suppose you could say. Um, and one of the reasons that this really started to sink in was I was at the retreat up in Boone, North Carolina with Angelo DeLillo last week, and it was really fabulous.
Amazing.
Oh,
Oh, amazing.
Excellent.
blow your mind good. And um, he talked about towards the middle to the end of the retreat about being in a situation where you start to pop in and out of non-duality. This is my own interpretation of the way he put it, but I feel certain that's the way what he was referring to, where you actually see and feel and understand some really different ways of being, and you can, yeah, you can like, oh my God, that's it. You know, that it's just the truth. It feels so, it resonates at such a level. It's undeniable.
Mm.
And and then boom, you're back kind of in the old way of being, and that keeps happening. And he said, if that's where you find yourself, then what you need to get into the deep emotion work. That's where the binding is. And I was like, oh hell yes, right. So I've been really working with that. And there was another video that he cut talking about some different inquiry questions you can ask yourself if you do find yourself in that type of a situation. And one of them was, what do I take myself to be?
Mm.
And I heard it and I didn't really dig in at that moment, but I went back and found that inquiry question and wrote it down. And without putting any thought into it, I just sat there with it. It was like, oh, I think I'm somebody that knows something, which was freaking shocking. It was kind of shocking in a way, but it was great because it felt so honest because it came out of nowhere. It came out of left field and it was loud and resonant. You know, it was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I thought, so, okay, there's a belief. How is that belief operating in my life that things are showing up to show me that I have that belief and it's not true, right? So I would go back and I looked at some different situations, and the realization was is that the times when I have can recall feeling the most vulnerable is similar to what the gal right before me is, when the situation presents itself and like I don't have any idea what's going to happen next, and it's frightening, or even causes. At one point this year when I was at a retreat, something happened that caused like total disassociation,
Mm.
and clearly there was a totally not knowing what the heck was going on, right? And
Mm.
so that's kind of where I am. And so listening to the gal before, it was helpful. Anyway, I don't really know what my question is other than, just to ask you guys what your thoughts are on that. And maybe I should speak of, I don't know that it's really necessary to talk about a specific situation. I don't know.
No,
Um,
I actually have something to say already now about the thing
but
where you have that total disassociation and something happens and you're completely startled and you don't know what to do, and it doesn't matter if it's in a car accident or if it's in an elevator that is stuck or if it's having parcels out on the deck and
Not that bad.
no, but but something, or pain in the body, or anything like that, where we feel there's a hook into something and we don't know what to do about it.
yeah,
The issue is very often that we believe that this is forever. I'm forever gonna be in pain. I'm forever gonna be heartbroken. I'm forever gonna be disassociated. It's forever. It's gonna be like that, and it's not. It's not even for the next 5 years, or the next 1 year, or the next hour. It's just now. It's just now. Can I be with it right now? I can. Okay. Can I be with it right now? I can. So you keep doing a reboot over and over and over. And by doing that, you at the same time, and this is what is so mind-boggling about this whole time thing, that even though we do a reboot and it's now and it's now and it's now, when we are in a now and we just allow that to completely expand, it becomes into eternity. It's very seven fetterish. But so, and that is where you get the confidence in it. Because when you see, okay, it's not forever, it's not for the next 5 years. I'm not going to be in pain for the next 5 years, or be disassociated for the next 5 years or the next year or the next hour. It's just now. Can I be disassociated right now? Well, apparently I could. I now have a memory about way back when, here 2 seconds ago, when I was completely disassociated and I was just present and aware in it, and I didn't die and it was completely fine. Okay, I'm gonna try it again. So can I be disassociated? I could. And when you allow yourself to do that, you kind of slow down, and it starts to expand. So eternity is in that moment, if that makes any sense. And that is where
Sure.
that is where it starts to really, expand. And no matter what comes your way, you can be with it in eternity, because that is this single moment, in a
Sure.
split second. That is where the entire eternity is. So it goes from a thought of a long time, which we can't, into what actually a long time is. And then you find out that it's completely doable.
Sure. That's great. That's very that hits right at it. It's interesting that I went from what I asked you to that, because it seems like they're very different topics. But yeah, yeah, because Angelo talked about how a lot of times the underlying belief under these kinds of momentums is I can't handle it.
Yes.
Wow.
And the thought of I can't handle it, like it'll keep happening. I'll always have this pain or discomfort or this
Yeah.
confusion or this like deer caught in the headlights feeling. Which yeah, that's really
Which is
great.
that the only thing you can't handle is the thought about it.
Mhm.
Yes, yes,
The thing you can handle is just staying with it without any thoughts about it, but just staying in it. And then you can feel that, oh, clearly I could. I have a pain in my entire body. I can't be in this body with all this pain. Okay, I could. I just were.
right,
It, it,
right, right,
the
exactly.
problem is when we start to project it into a thought about the pain,
Mhm.
and I
Sure,
can't
sure.
live with this thought about the pain for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
But that is never the case. You don't need to live with the thought about the pain. You just release the thought about it.
Right, right. And then back to that original belief, or yeah, the belief that apparently I have about myself is that I'm someone that knows. But
Yeah.
it was so it was so interesting because when we were doing a Byron Katie meeting recently, that one of the beliefs that we decided to do as a group was I can know, the belief I can know.
Mm.
And as I went through it, it became very clear. At one point, I heard the voice say, I can know that I don't know. And I was like, holy crap. It's like the double whammy, right? And then the whole thing felt like it collapsed on each
Yes.
other. But subsequently, this where the question was, who do you take yourself to be? It popped up. And so apparently that belief is still in there that I can know. Um, and at the same time, it's so frigging obvious that I absolutely can't know anything. And so these competing
Mm.
agendas are like, I don't know, they feel just ugh. They make me, I just had a like a Kundalini thing just talking about it. Like my whole body's wanting to unwind the damn thing.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know where to go with it. Yeah.
Can I ask you, Lisa,
Yeah.
with that belief that you are, one who knows, what is
Hmm.
underlying the need for that to be true, or the wanting for that to be true?
I don't think there's a want. Well, I think it's an old thing about being accepted and being worthwhile, that I have information or value. It's a value based, yeah, stuff like that. It's
Yes.
old. It's old.
And if you really gave up the idea that you know absolutely anything, the idea that you could possibly know anything, what comes up with that thought, positive or negative? Does anything pop up with the idea that I can absolutely never know anything?
Actually feels very positive.
Good.
It feels really opening. It feels freeing. It feels like, oh my God, all the binding would fall into, into oblivion. That's the way it feels.
Good.
Yeah.
So what could possibly know anything? What is
Hell if I know.
in that moment, feeling that freedom, that openness, that everything
Mm.
just falling away into oblivion, what is there left in that moment? If you say that again to yourself and then feel what comes up, that I absolutely can never know anything for sure. And then see what comes up and then look in that experience for what could possibly still be in there that could be anything that would know something. What would that concept even mean from that space?
It wouldn't make any sense to
Yeah,
even answer that question. It doesn't fit anything.
good. Is there the idea of even knowing something has to be questioned. There's obviously we have the we can do the cognitive exercise of recognizing that we have no idea what's coming in the next moment. We don't know what the next words are that are coming out of our mouths, any of that. But the question, one layer deeper than that, is what is the knowing? Knowing implies a knower.
Mm.
Knowing implies that there is still something there that knows something, even if, as you said, it's the fact that I can never know anything. That still implies a knower who knows that fact. So, what
That's
in that space could even be misconstrued as a knower?
it just doesn't feel like it makes sense. I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
So if at any point you get that feeling of the 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 idea that there is something there to know or to be known, that there is someone in there who could still know something, turn that around and investigate into what it could possibly be that actually knows anything. What is taking in information and then storing it and accessing it and recalling it
As if it's true.
as if it's true? What is that
Yeah,
experience?
that's that little residual, like, thingy that was ever part of such a big part of everything,
Mm.
Yeah.
sort of lurking around, waiting. Even the idea, like I'm realizing now, this when I ask myself the question, um, who do you take yourself to be? That oh, I can be somebody that knows something. That's just a thought that popped up. It doesn't have any relevance, really.
Well, it popped up because there's something there that still believes it. There's
That's just it.
some
There's there
some hook in
is
it.
there is, and it's like when you were talking earlier, I thought, well, I can know that I'm cold. That's what
Okay.
popped up.
There's there's we could
Something that I feel like I am a lot is cold.
but in that moment of feeling like you know that you're cold,
Yeah.
check into the raw experiences. You feel something that we call cold, right? Which by itself you can also analyze down to what is even that. But even staying
Right.
at the level of label there, I feel something, we're calling that cold. What is it that is recognizing that feeling? What is separate from that feeling? And knowing that you're cold, it implies that there's cold over here, and then there's a witness, a knower of that cold all around it,
And the future that is warm.
and a future that is warm. Yeah, that there's any current. So where is that? Where is that thing that's separate from the experience of that cold sensation?
It's just the whole thing's friggin' hilarious. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
And also there's another layer to it, because are you really cold? Are you really
Well, that
cold?
was another thing I was going to say right now when I.
Exactly. If you deduct like 5 degrees more from the temperature you have right now, are you then cold, or are you actually quite warm
Yeah,
compared to
yeah, it's true.
something that's colder?
Well, not only that, but like what I was noticing was, well, I am a little chilly right now. And then I thought, well, no, wait a second. What am I? And then I noticed that the body's actually having a kind of a reaction to the conversation that's more, it's not coldness.
Yes.
It's a
Interesting.
different kind of, some type of a vibratory thing that's happening that, you could call it cold, but it definitely could be anxiousness or a little bit of
There we go.
confusion or a lot of questioning or like
Yes.
Yeah.
not knowing. It could even be not knowing. I don't, there's no way to really know what it is because the sensation doesn't actually have a label. It's
No,
other than a
Exactly.
exactly.
sensation. Yeah.
And it might also be that when you then acknowledge that, okay, I'm clearly not cold now because I can be colder, so I can't be cold now, then what is it? I've removed now the label of cold. So what am I actually experiencing? Oh, I'm quite anxious. Oh, I'm anxious. So, and then you do the same thing with anxiousness and feeling into that, because there's always a more convenient label on something that is inconvenient. So we call it something because it's much nicer to talk about I'm cold than talking about being super, super uncomfortable or super, super anxious or something underneath. And that keeps being a layer. Then you remove that label and there's something underneath that. And it keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Because that's just happening as you talk. And like the label of anxious came off and it turned into excitement. Then it turned into laughter. I was like, I don't have any idea what this
No,
going on. It's just
it's
all
just
here.
sensation, and it's basically a program that's been running to try to create sense out of chaos. And it's
And
been very good at it. You've navigated this whole world in a way that's been functional, but
Well, I'm still alive,
exactly,
I
exactly.
made it
think.
this far.
Exactly. I mean, on a very practical level, it's helpful to know if your body is becoming hypothermic and you need to do something to become warmer. So there are practical values to that kind of awareness of, ooh, I think my hand is getting frostbite. I think I should probably go and buy a fire. Like there's a practical level to that, but on the other side of that, that same mechanism is being used for all of these emotions, for all of these assumptions about what's actually going on in our experience, in a way that completely clouds our experience of what's really going on, and it creates all of these narratives and storylines that aren't really there. It's just warning you that you need a jacket,
Hmm.
you know or not. Or in some cases it is like you just discovered that that's just a really convenient label for feelings of unease,
Hmm.
or feeling like
Mhm.
something is changing and you can't put a finger on it. So this is the closest label that seems to come close to something I've experienced before. So it must
Right.
be.
I can nail it down for a second maybe and feel more comfortable, but yeah, it's becomes quite clear pretty quickly that nailing things down don't make you more comfortable.
No, it
Hmm.
is not. But notice also the automaticity of those labels. That it's not that you're choosing to think. There's no thinker, there's no Lisa in there who's going,
Yeah.
I am cold, I am feeling this. Oh no, no, I am excited. Oh no, 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 I'm actually quite anxious. No, no, I am, like, those are just labels that are coming up and then being uh, basically being taken on by other thoughts that are believing them, but it's not pointing back to anything real.
No, 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 no. Yeah, it's a movement. It's like this idea that of a new movement. Oh, then you can claim it. Like then the ego can claim you again. It
Yes.
can claim
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it's quite clear that it's so interesting how it can become it's so crystal clear just how weird thought is and how unnecessary it's not saying anything, it's not telling you anything, it's just happening.
Hmm.
And it isn't about anybody either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good to see that and then to keep seeing that.
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely. Wow, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Always so good.
Thank you guys. That's fun.
Thank you. That's amazing. Really good seeing. And I'm glad the retreat went well.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a very energetic retreat. People were having a interesting time. It's very, very, I recommend his retreats to anybody out there that thinks they
Wonderful.
might.
Amazing. Amazing. Love it so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.